Hey guys, welcome back. It's 2020. How cool is that? I hope you're having a wonderful start to the year. At the end of last year, we finished off with this drop control 10 keyless keyboard. It's a great entry level board and allows you to kind of experiment with what's out there in terms of mechanical keyboards. So in this stream, we're going to go through all the advantages and disadvantages. We're going to tear it down. We're going to do some really simple mods, some more difficult mods, some that are cheaper, some that are more expensive, and really just see what we can do to make this board the best it can be. We are not done with it though. There will be a part 2 to this where I go even more extreme, so stick around for that. And then at the end of the video, we're going to do a formal sound test. So stick around. I hope you enjoy the stream. I will talk to you soon. Goodbye. So, this was sent to me by Drop. And it is, in fact, I'll open it up towards you guys, a keyboard. It is the Control keyboard, which is their 10 keyless keyboard. I'm gonna have to adjust here a little bit. But they sent this out for review, and I had done one of their products in the past. I'd done the PC37X by Sennheiser, or their collaboration with Sennheiser, and they enjoyed the review that I did for that and wanted to send out a keyboard since they knew that I was also in the keyboard community. So what we have here is their TKL keyboard. This way. And it also kind of conveniently comes with a USB-C cable, a keycap puller, a switch puller, because it is hot swap, and adjustable feet. So, this guy is $200, I think. I think it's $200. Let me check. Yeah, $200. And for that $200, which is pricey, right? Like, if we're talking about quality of boards that you can build for $200, it's pricey. It does have some things going for it, though, in terms of features that you get right out of the box, that you don't have to worry about, I guess, you could say. So, if you can see up here, it ships with Halo True switches, which are a tactile switch. And we can do a sound test on this a little bit later. Actually, no, let's not do it later. Let's do it right now so that you guys can actually hear what it sounds like out of the box. So like without doing anything to it first. Let's see. Okay, so that's just to give you kind of an understanding of our baseline, right? So you can hear that there are some rattly stabs in there, which is like, I don't know if there are really any keyboards that come out of the box with really good stabilizers. but we can take a look at those because I do want to make this the best it can be. I want to see what it would take to make this the best it can be, because I know that a lot of people will buy this board, and in terms of accessibility to the mechanical keyboard hobby, this could be a really nice starting point for a lot of people, because it does offer things like hot swap capabilities, right? Like, I can just pop one of these guys out. It comes with a switch puller, but I'm not going to use it because it's metal, and I don't want to risk scratching the board if I can avoid it. So we'll use a Rama switch puller first, and this is nice just because it's coated, right? Okay. So here are our Halo Trues that came out. We've got that nice salmon color. And these, one of the nice things is if you buy this board and you are interested in tactile switches, which it comes with, right? This is half of a Holy Panda. So you can actually use the switches that come with the board to make into Holy Pandas, which is one of the most popular switches, tactile switches in the keyboard community. So, like, you already have a really nice launching point from there, and you can take these apart. You don't need any special tools to take apart switches, and then put them into something like a Yock housing to make a Holy Panda. So, from that perspective, right, you've already got hot swap. You've got half of Holy Pandas, but it looks like you'll need to do some stuff in terms of tuning your stabilizers, which I'm not even sure yet how to get into this board. Okay. On the backside, it looks like, sorry for that microphone hit. It looks like we do have Phillips screws, 8 of them that we can take out. But, like I said, it's a good starting point. One of the other gripes that I think people have with this board, I like the idea of having left or right USB. Yes. So, good point. Thank you for calling that out. This has both left and right USB-C, so that no matter where it sits on your desk, you can route the cable to it correctly. And the nice thing about these feet is that they are detachable. They have really nice, like, strong neodymium magnets, I believe. So you can pop those in there and get, what would that be? 5 to 6 degrees of angle? It's not much. Maybe it's 7. But you can get some, and you can even actually, Nathan Kim did this on his stream, but you can actually, if you really, really wanted to, for some weird reason, you could have negative angle. So you can put the feet in the back so that you have to, like, type over it. I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but it is a possibility. And then one of the other things that people have a gripe with, and I've been wanting to test this, like, on my own, because legitimately, it's an intriguing keyboard for a lot of reasons, but, like, people have said that if you move it side to side when you have these magnetic feet attached, that they'll just fall off. And I've been wanting to test it, like, really badly. Nope. Nope. And, like, there's a ton of resistance right now. So, in terms of those feet coming off, not a problem for me. I'm not sure who has had that issue, but not me. Okay. One of the other things you'll notice, since we've already popped off one of these switches, is that unlike this hot swap board, we only have the pins for 3-pin switches, right? So if you look at the bottom of this switch, it's got the the area that the slider will depress into, and then the two contact legs, right? And that's it. So if you're going to put other switches in there that started with 5 pins, you'll have to clip them off. And Chronoman, you were just talking about this the other day, you know, that our flush cutters that we were talking about, you know, are the right tool to do that. But if you can get a hot swap that allows for 5-pin, it's really, really nice, because you don't have to go ahead and like destroy switches for one specific board, right? Because if you want to take those switches out at some point and put them into another board that's hot swap, you can do that and, you know, not have to remove those extra legs. So that's one thing that I would consider a downside. There's really no harm in leaving. Oh, it is me. Yes. Hello, Sam Kim, aka Keyboard Scraps. How are you? We are discussing the control from Drop. They just sent this out recently. So there's no real downside to leaving those holes in there. I don't know if it adds to the manufacturing cost at all to add an extra hole. I would imagine it's a non-zero number, just because like it's another, you know, punch through the PCB, but I can't imagine it would be too much, especially for a $200 keyboard. And then the other thing that people have noted about this is that these hot swap, like the, what do you call them? The receptacle for your switches are what are called south-facing, or no, north-facing. So this is going to be hard to explain. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. So there's this concept of north-facing versus south-facing switches in keyboards, and it has to do with where the LED is. Like the LED is the easiest way to know. So if the LED is at the top, it's north-facing. If the LED is at the bottom, it's south-facing. And you can also do the same thing with where the legs go in, but then it's just inverted. So the problem with that, and the reason that people like south-facing most of the time, is that it leaves clearance for the middle rows for GMK switches and other like cherry-style switches to bottom out correctly. And I have not experienced this as a problem yet. That's the caveat, right? The caveat is that I have not experienced this as a problem yet, but I know that there are circumstances in which it can be an issue, and I'm going to test it out on this, which is my first north-facing board. So we're gonna see. But it also means, let's see if I can show this with this board. You guys can see the switch, right? Am I gonna be able to get him off? Okay. What you can see on this guy, if we turn off, you can see that the LEDs on the bottom, right, rather than the top, so we have like our up, down, left, right. You can see that the LED is actually shining through at the bottom, and for some switches, like that's going to be a really good feature. And these, luckily, like have, like I'm not using shine through keycaps on that one. But the reason that they put them at the top for keyboards like this is because, if you'll notice, I'm just hitting the mic all the time today. It's very in the way. It's entirely my fault. But if you look at these keycaps, the legends are at the top and they are shine through, which means that they want to put the LED at the top so that it shines through those legends. And on other boards, they want to put it at the bottom, you know, and I don't really know if there's much of the reason other than the issue that I talked about earlier, where, you know, there can be the bottoming out in the middle rows issue. But if you're not having to worry about shining through those top legends, you know, because this is clear, right? You can kind of see like that clear plastic with then the gray on top of it. If you're not having to worry about shining through those top legends, you're able to have them be south-facing switches. So that's kind of the difference as I see it. And I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna see if it actually does become an issue for me. Futile, yes, you are always an issue. All right, now I can actually answer your question, Sam. I'm sorry. It's a hard sell for me because GMMK bare bones is 60. How's the construction? It looks pretty nice. Yeah. So we're gonna go through all of that because I think there is a lot to it. I'm gonna actually take this apart entirely, and see how we can make it. Like see if we can find the best version of itself, and then make sure that people who are interested in a board like this that has a lot of the components already there can make it into something that they really enjoy. This is the control. The control is 10 keyless. The alt is 65%. Yeah. But like, if you're gonna be buying a board like this, it's gonna be a very respectable thing, you know, and you can do a lot to customize it, right? You can pull off the keycaps, you can switch out the switches, you know, to your heart's content. There are a lot of upsides for it, but I also want to see kind of like how good we can make it. So let's see. Is the play here to just like take it all apart right now? Or do we want to open our third package? You guys tell me now. Do we want to start taking it apart now, or do we want to open package number 3? Are you gonna put lube at the sabs? Yeah, I'm planning to. I'm planning to do everything that I can to make this the best board that it can be, and see kind of where it lands, right? Because we've got a starting point, but there's so many things that we can do to it at this point. That I want to see where its ceiling is, because we kind of know where its floor is, right? The floor is where it comes right out of the box, but the ceiling, we don't know how high that is yet. If I'm spending $200 on a keyboard, I expect to already be the best it can be. That's fair. That's fair. And that's kind of what I'm saying for a lot of the custom boards that are out there. Like this NK65 that we built is under $200. And in my opinion, it will be very difficult for this $200 board to beat this. But we will see. I don't want to prejudge things just because I'm so in love with this guy. But the other thing we can do is do a quick weight comparison, because this is like, this is aluminum. These feet are, you know, fully aluminum with the magnets attached. So it's definitely a well-constructed board, and a hefty board at that. So let's see. Hang on, I'll turn this around so you guys can see the weight. £2, 5 1/8 ounces. I worry the feet would randomly sap off. Well, see, that's what we actually tested that earlier. I made sure, well, again, for my surface, I made sure that if I'm pushing it, ooh, it didn't happen the first time, but it just happened there. I'm glad I retested that. We did that exact same test earlier, and it was fine. See, like, that's okay. It sounds like I broke a bone. Like, this is okay if I'm moving it left to right, but if I put downward pressure on it, it's okay. Maybe I just didn't put that one in correctly, because this is fine. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the VOD on that, like the slow-mo of what happened that last time, because I'm hoping I just didn't put it in correctly. But okay, so the question is, do we tear this down now, or do we open third box? I'm partial to this, but I don't want to influence your decision, so you guys can make the decision. I'll just be over here, okay? ¿Por qué no los dos? Well, we're gonna do both, but not at the same time. I guess we can open box number 3. Because box number 3 does have some effect on this being the best it can be. You're personally invested? Well, yeah, we're gonna do both. We're gonna do both. Does the NK65 come with keycaps? No, it does not. But there are lots of good, cheaper keycaps for something like the NK65, where you can buy the NK65 for $140, and switches for, if you're trying to do cheap, you can get switches for $20. I've got a full set of GAT yellows for $20, and then another like Taihao Cubic, or some of the more budget sets that are out there, to keep it under that $200 price point. Is it a GMK set? Is it? Where's my knife? Where'd I put my knife boy? He's over here. This is not my first GMK set, but I have been waiting for this for a very long time. And I know a lot of people have. I'm not gonna dox myself like I did last time I opened a box. Do you want to guess which GMK set? Okay, here we go. Get out of here. GMK Dicks? That's not a thing. Red Samurai? It is not Red Samurai. That's a very good guess, though, because I'm supposed to receive Red Samurai at some point. It is GMK Oblivion V2 monochrome base kit. So, I think that this is gonna look really good on this. Let's check it out. So, a lot of people have been waiting on this set for a very long time, and the reason why is because it was about to ship, and the guy who designed this set actually found an issue with one of the kits, like the main Git base kit, and so he had to basically send it back. Ooh, yeah, there you go. He basically had to send it back and say, no, we're not done, and kind of had to disappoint quite a few people, but at the same time, in the pursuit of a high quality set, you can't compromise, right? If the legends are off, and if you find issues as the designer, it is on you to insist that the quality that people are paying for is achieved. So it was a completely understandable thing for him to do that. It just meant that a lot of people's orders got delayed. So that's unfortunate. But ours wasn't affected because we got the monochrome set, which is that nice kind of like Dolce gray, and then with those nice sharp blue accents. So in the pursuit of making this board the best it can be, we're gonna go ahead and put this set on it. But what I want to do first We're gonna set that aside. It is gonna look good. I'm aware. I'm really excited. But in the pursuit of kind of making this the best it can be, we're gonna tear this guy down first. Let's just get like all of the parts out of the way. Let's get our screwdriver, wherever he is. Give me 2 seconds. I request a Zelios or something similar. Sound test with this boy? Okay. I will put... Do you mean Zelios or do you mean... What do you mean? I don't have Zelios. Do you mean Helios? Because I have Helios. And silent reds and silent yellows. But not Zelios. You think about that for a second, Futel, while I find my screwdriver. You just did a build with Silent Cat Reds? Not bad. Yeah, I would imagine so. I haven't had Gat Silent Reds, but I've had Cherry Silent Reds that were actually donated for the charity build. So the charity build will have Cherry Silent Reds in them. All right, let's take a look and see what we need. Are you too big? Nope, you're perfect. You don't have Zelo? No, I don't have Zelo V2s lying around. They're expensive, dude. Anything Zeal is gonna be expensive. Also, I kind of want to change the title now. Let's change the title to... exclamation mark title, making the drop. Uh-oh. CTRL, the best it can be. There we go. Link in Amazon, let me permit you first. There you go. Oh, Futile already got it. Yeah, subs can post links, freely, but wait, what the flip is this? The DM87 key custom 80% case stabilizer support. Lighting effects, full anti-ghosting. For how much? I guess we can go see buying options. Well, that's not right. Right? $30? What? From Cave Republic? What the... Also, that's a weird PCB. That's a weird PCB. Huh. It's solder, not hot swap. But if it's actually $30, okay, switch back. You have one unbuilt? It exists? It actually exists. Interesting. I'm very curious. Plastic housing plate, mount stabs, non-removable cable. Okay. So like, yeah, you're compromising on some stuff, but you get to put your own switches in there. You get to tune your stabs, all that. So it'll be next week's build? Yeah, that'll be very cool. I will definitely be there. Let's go corner to corner. Just loosening them all first, not removing them. This microphone's getting in the way. I need to figure out a better microphone solution. The inks are also growing on you? Wait, why do you hate that? Inks are amazing. Because it's too many more options? Hang on. It is a lot of options. And I understand your dilemma there. But inks, if you like linears, inks are a very solid choice. And it's one of those things where, like, you can, to some extent, rely on the research that other people have done, you know, where, like, I've tried inks, you know, a lot of people in the community, you know, see them as a very solid choice. So, like, it doesn't have to be all on you. You can kind of just like narrow it down and then look to the community to some extent, you know, to say like, yeah, we've vetted this guy. You know, it takes really well to certain types of lube, and you know, it doesn't all have to be on you. But most people seem to recommend inks and telios. Yeah, that's very true. I also very much so like Novel Keys creams. That's what I did in this guy. And I'm surprised by how much I liked it. But the nice thing about creams is that they're very thocky. They have like a very satisfying, deep sound to them. All right, music. You're gonna need to calm down a second. You're getting a little too loud. There we go. But yeah, like there are lots of switches out there that the community has kind of vetted for you, so that like you can't go wrong to some extent. You know, there are very easy choices for tactile, like if you know, want Zelios, you know, or Holy Pandas, or Hacko Trues, or, you know, whatever. But on the linear side, I really like creams. I do. Just listen to my AirSMR video for like 10 hours on repeat, and you might come to the same conclusion. Okay, so we've got all those screws out. Let's try to crack her open. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this side too, just because I can. And it'll make it that much more simple once we get the back off. I'm not going to use the puller for this side, just because I don't think it needs it. Because you can actually pull straight up. The switch puller is most useful when you're not sure that you can pull straight up. But like for switches like these, where you can actually get your fingers on both sides, it's not as big of a deal. The switch puller itself is made in such a way that it can wrap around keys and kind of simulate that, you know, so that you can get around and then pull straight up. But for a lot of keys, that's not entirely necessary. Just buy them all. That's what I did. And you don't really want to. It sounds nice, but you don't really want to. You clearly didn't if you don't have Zelio. Okay, true. I didn't buy them all, but I did buy a lot. To this point, I haven't regretted it, but it is still a lot of money to put into something that you don't know you're gonna like. And that's the hard part. And that's why you buy a Switch tester, and then if it makes your life easier, great. If it makes your life harder, at some point you're just gonna have to make a call and go with it. But even if I had Zelios, it would make no difference to your decision, because you can't feel what I'm feeling. And tactiles are so much about where the bump is, how sharp it is, you know, if you like rounder or sharper bumps, like all that stuff. So, yeah. Of course he didn't buy them all, Nigel's gotta eat. You could skip a few meals. That's not true. I'm not actually advocating for that, don't worry. You just built a keyboard with alias silent, and they don't seem that much worse than Silence? Okay. Interesting. I've tried alias. The macro pad that I have over here, let's see if we can get it into frame. This macro pad has alias switches in it, but they're not the silent version. Whee. But I don't have a ton of experience with the alias switches. I didn't even really buy those intentionally. They came with the board, and one fun thing is that like all three of these boards, right? This one, and this one are all hot swap. And so if I at some point like find a switch that I'm really just in love with, at a moment's notice, I can switch them all up. Which is one of the really, really nice things about starting the hobby with a hot swap PCB, and not like committing yourself, you know, to an entire life of a keyboard being exactly one thing that you soldered into it. The other thing about this board is that I'm not expecting to use too much of the RGB features, so getting rid of these, what do you call them? Shine-through keycaps is not a big deal to me. I know there are a lot of people out there that really do like RGB, and for some of my stuff I'll use it as an accent. Like this guy has a very, you know, soft purple accent underneath it. Through GMK white on black, but it's not important to me that like it be shine through keycaps because it's such a small accent. Okay. Nice. And then yeah, I'm not even sure which, so these are, I mean, these are definitely plate mount stabilizers, but I don't know where they are from. I don't know who manufactured them. If somebody's interested in looking that up, I'd be very appreciative. If that information even exists. I don't know if Drop like really advertises it on their website. And you can do this more than once. Like, you can pull up multiple keycaps if you want to, kind of like I'm doing here, but it doesn't always, you know, save you time. Hey, Troy, what's going on? Oh, so Troy, speaking of RuneScape, Sam, I know Sam Kim, who's currently in chat, is a big RuneScape guy. Troy and I met almost 16 years ago playing RuneScape, and he just recently found the stream because I started promoting it a little bit more on Facebook, and very happy to have him. Merry Christmas to you too. I hope you and yours are also well. We had a very chill Christmas, which I like. But I'm gonna go visit my wife's family in Florida. They're not from Florida. They're just going to be in Florida for Christmas, or for New Year's, I guess. And we decided to go down and meet them down there. You're working on maxing over the next few years? Yeah, that's gonna be, oh gosh, that's gonna be fun. The only skill that I got to 99 was woodcutting, because I'm a very boring person, and woodcutting, I made so much money doing it though. Like in the early days of RuneScape, I made so much money cutting yews and magic logs, like before people really, you know, had the skills to do it. And like I was one of the first people who really focused on woodcutting, and so I got that, and then like the market for it was so hot at the time that I could capitalize on it. You haven't gotten a 99 yet? Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, it's just a number. If anything, it's a badge of, like, you know, the amount of time that you've put into it, and that's not a direct correlation to how much you enjoyed it or anything. So it's not a problem at all. Okay, so we've got keycaps removed. Let's get them out of the way. $18.20. I think I'm in like the low, like I think I'm in the high 14s, low 15s. Okay. And then for these, like I mentioned, it does come with a metal puller, like a switch puller. I'm not going to use it because this is aluminum, and I do not want to scratch it. So I'm going to use something that's coated. This is the Rama XO puller. You get this actually if you buy any Rama product, or you can buy it on its own for, I think it's like $8. And in terms of like protecting your keyboard, I think it's worth it, just so that you're not risking scratching the plate. Because metal on metal, especially, I don't know if this is steel or not, but if you're like steel on aluminum, you know, is gonna do harm to it. So I suggest going with something a little bit less aggressive, if you can get away with it, and then not flinging them everywhere. And then just taking it really slowly and kind of like wiggling them out. Start playing on mobile. I did too for a little while, and the only problem is that it kills your battery. Because it, for me at least, it took so much of my battery. Plate mount cherry style. Okay, gotcha. I'm curious what cherry style means though, because there are cherry, and then there's cherry style, which can be made by anybody. But if they put cherry style, it may hint that it's actually not made by Cherry. It might be an off-brand, but I don't know. Because like this guy, the NK65, comes with Cherry OEM stabilizers. Plate mount still, but like from the brand Cherry. So I think, actually, I think what I'm gonna do is put holy pandas in here, since I'm not using them for anything else. And it's, you know, like we were talking about, when you buy this board, you already have half of a holy panda there. You already have the Halo True stem or Halo Clear. I think you can get either. I think you can order it with Halo True or Halo Clear. But that is just an aesthetic difference. Halo Clear has a different stem and a different spring, but they are functionally the same material, all that. This is sounding kind of country. I don't know how we got into country. I'm gonna have to make like a real playlist for Epidemic Sounds if it's gonna like start throwing country at me. Genres. Alternative hip hop beats. Let's just do beats. Alright, we're back. It is a bit of a Keikona vibe. Okay. I probably should have, like, plugged this in. No, there's nothing wrong with it. It was just not what I was expecting, and it didn't seem to, like, fit with the vibe of the rest of the playlist. But, like, I'm from Tennessee originally, right? And the most Tennessee thing... Well, there are a few most Tennessee things, but, like, NASCAR and country music, you know, are up there. And I never really got into either. But Troy, you're from Canada. Is country a big thing in Canada? Don't blame you on not getting into all the lectures. So apparently, that is the new and improved Sabs. Oh, huh. Okay. Well, now I kind of wish that I'd gotten the old bad ones too. Hang on, do I dare click? Stabilizer comparison. Okay, we can listen to this. Yeah, hang on. Let me pause music really fast. Click, switch, let's see. Well, it definitely sounds better. Yeah. Way better. Okay. Cool. And music back. Don't do it, you'll regret it. It wasn't that bad. I've definitely been linked worse things. And I trust Lucky. Country has its place in time. We have a lot of country-ish areas up here, around here. Yeah, okay. You know what's actually... I don't know if I have the most Canadian exposure from these two things, but one is Letterkenny. I get some good Canadian exposure from Letterkenny, and then the other is what's the TV show? Trailer Park Boys. So that's Troy. That is the opinion. That's where I form my opinion on Canada. Trailer Park Boys and Letterkenny. Because that's all of Canada. I know. It's like Canada is just that one, you know, big mass where everybody's the same. If you have Halo Clears, what else do I need to make Holy Pandas? Okay, so you either need a Yok Panda, Halo Trues. Okay, it actually doesn't matter. You can either use Halo Clear or Halo True stems. But what I suggest is going over to Novel Keys. Let me open up a link for you. Novelkeys.xyz. So the way that I did it was I went to switches, and then where are they? Yok Trash Pandas. So I bought these because they have the same housing as the Inver Pandas, and it's like the same material and everything. It's not the exact same mold. I think it was a recreated mold, but it's the same exact material and specifications. So that is how I made my Holy Pandas, and I'm going to be putting them in this board once I disassemble everything and put it back together. So let me show you. So these are my Holy Pandas, lubed with 205 grade 0. And so it's that Yok Trash Panda housing with a Halo True stem. That's what I did. I think there are other clones that you can use that have the same housing, but these are the most accessible, I would say, at this point, is the Yok housings. Yeah, I'm glad you stopped by. Flying Lemon, wonderful name. But yeah, the nice thing about this board is that it comes with, actually, like, the Halo Trues are decent switches on their own merit, but the thing is, like, they can be so much more, and so that's why people have gravitated towards the Holy Panda so much recently. Oh, actually, that's a good question. I'm not actually sure if I'll be able to fill out this entire board with Holy Pandas, because I have 70 of them, and that I might need to put, like, just regular Halo Trues in here for the time being until I make more. So, but I'll put Holy Pandas in the center section, like the alpha section and spacebar and all that. So it'll be, like, you'll get the full sound of it, but then I'll just need to make another 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. And honestly, since I'm going to have these donor switches here, I might make some Holy Pandas and then do something like a giveaway with them, because they're a very, very popular switch, and a lot of people like them. People who are into tactile really like them, unless you like really sharp tactility. If you like rounder tactility, that's where the Holy Pandas come in. I used 205 grade 0. I think you could probably also do 3204 on Holy Pandas and do pretty well. I don't know if I would do MCG 129. I don't know, it might be too thick. I'd have to do testing. But 205 grade 0, like it's an easy go-to because of its versatility. Okay, we're almost done. And then I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Okay, great. By the way, this is a very weird drink. I like interesting beers. And this one is definitely interesting. It's almost a little too interesting for me. It is a barley wine ale aged in Islay single malt whiskey barrels. And it's intense, man. It kind of tastes like if you made a tire fire into a beer. And some people will probably like that. Okay, let's flip it over now. And then get this guy separated. I'm gonna make sure that there aren't any connections that I need to be wary of. Nope, okay. So here it is without the back plate on there. You can see these are our magnetic strips, and then this is the aluminum plate that was on the back. It's pretty thin. But rigid. Like, I think I could flex it a little bit, but you know, pretty rigid. And then I can take this guy off. Oh, okay, so the magnets. Pro tip. The magnetic plates, these are not magnets, I guess. These are just iron plates. They are not secured and will fall out. And you will lose them on your floor somewhere. Oh boy. That's gonna be a problem. We're gonna have to go on a hunting adventure here. Where did they go? There are 3 of them. How did I lose 3? There's one. Okay, we got one back. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and we still need to find 4. Okay, we're gonna look for 4 as we go. But then this is just like a piece of acrylic that's used to hold them in place. But yeah, they don't, there's nothing securing them in there. It's just the pressure from that aluminum plate that's on the back up against it. So just be wary of that as you are taking it apart. I said this in my most recent YouTube video that I uploaded, but I do this type of stuff so that you guys don't have to. Like, I make these mistakes so that you guys can learn from them. Uh-oh. Alright, we'll find him later. Walk around barefoot, it'll turn up. Well, I do also have this magnet that I can just, like, sweep around on the floor, I guess. But I feel like if that's the case, then I would just be able to see it. Anyway. I'm not gonna let Nigel get it. No. I don't think that my dog would eat a piece of metal. But at the same time, I'm also not sure, because he's just that kind of dog. Okay. So then this guy, as we can see, we've still got our USB ports in the back. And so what we're gonna have to do for the PCB is basically, like, pop it up on this side and then slide it away from those. And it's gonna be a little bit of an awkward angle. But you just have to be careful there, because you do not want to bend those two USB-C ports as they come out. Or, heaven forbid, snap these little pieces of the PCB on either side. Because if you, like, you can bend this back to some extent, but in terms of, like, actually snapping off a piece of the PCB, don't do it. Don't force it. But let's get a really nice close-up shot of this guy. This is the back side, where you can kind of see the hot swap connectors made by Kale. And then an Amtel ATS AMD5 1J18 chip, because Lucky always asks. At this point, you don't ask anymore, I just tell you. But hopefully you appreciate that. And then on this side, you can kind of see, this is where, like, this is the side we would actually, that would be facing up if we were going to be putting switches into it. You can kind of see that. Interestingly, if you look at spots like this, it's kind of hard to see with all this light. Let's turn on the light a little bit. But you can kind of see the traces themselves have a bit of a spider-like effect to them. You can kind of see them in the light there. But they're kind of like all under that white layer. It's really interesting to kind of see in person. Okay. But that's our PCB. And I guess I could go through the process of testing it as we would with any custom board, but don't really need to, because theoretically, if it's being sold, you know, by drop, it was checked at the factory. But then here's the back side of our top piece. So this would be considered kind of like an integrated plate, right? Because it does sit above the PCB, but it is also the top piece. So this is very thick. It's not going to flex much at all, right? So on a plate that you'd get for a custom keyboard, typically the plate would be not integrated with the top piece, and then you can kind of tune that piece of metal, just this piece of metal that your switches sit on above the PCB, and allow for more or less flex, or a different sound, or, you know, different feel, whatever it may be. But with this, you're kind of locked into that one very thick, stiff piece of aluminum. And then if we wanted to, we could pop out these stabs. Oh, wait, what? Okay. These are already partially lubed, it looks like. Yeah. So just looking in here at these stabilizers, you can kind of see there is some lube on them already. I don't know what type of lube it is. I don't know if they even advertise what type of lube it is or that they're lubed in the first place. But there is some on there. So I'm going to use a... I'm going to use like a little flathead or something to depress one side of those plate mount stabilizers to get them out. If I can. Okay. So yeah, here they are. Here's one of the 2U stabilizers as it has been removed. And again, in terms of this, and in terms of the integrated plate idea, one of the problems with it is that it's going to very heavily influence the number of layouts that you can use, right? And part of the appeal of custom keyboards is that you can have whichever layout you want. But when it's so tightly coupled to the board itself, you're going to be forced into just one layout. But yeah, that may be what they were talking about when they were talking about, you know, new and improved. It may have just been that like little thin, you know, coating of lube, mystery lube. Okay. Come on. And I believe by default this is going to be a 6.25U spacebar. I don't think they're gonna allow for anything else. Yeah. Okay, so we've got everything disassembled now, right? Some things too disassembled, I might say. But there's our top piece, our stabs, our PCB, and then this is not only a holder for these, this is also a diffusion layer. So the LEDs that are on the PCB itself, you know, put out light, right? And you can see on this PCB, you've got LEDs around the perimeter, right, that don't belong to any specific key. Those are going to shine through this and be diffused out the side because this gets sandwiched between the top and the bottom piece. So you're going to get that kind of like exterior glow of light that you can program. Okay. But we can clip and lube these guys, and then we can kind of like start reassembling and then put our holy pandas in. So to disassemble these, what you're going to do is the the wire here is kind of clipped in. So what you're going to do is you're going to pop it out by turning this guy and go like pop, and then pull straight out and set him aside. And then on the other side, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to turn him pop, and then go out. How would you dampen a board like this? That's a great question. Let me see how much clearance we actually get. So that's the thing. That's a really good question. Because the amount of clearance that we get is essentially nothing, right? You are going, this is our bottom piece, right? And then if you kind of look at how the PCB will lay on top of that, is this right? If you look at how the PCB is going to lay on top of that, there's like nothing, essentially. So it's really hard to say. Actually, it would be the other way around. Sorry, hang on. Like this. But you can see, like, there's really not much room for anything in there. And I think the only way that you're going to dampen it is between this piece and this piece. So it would have to be a very, very thin piece that you cut into these rectangle shapes. And then, you know, kind of like cut out a notch for that. And then, you know, a notch for that. And then if you want to, you can probably squeeze, like, you can put a tiny bit of pressure. And so like the foam could theoretically be a little bit thicker than this, but I would caution you, you know, on that, and probably just stick to a very thin piece right here that has a very soft texture. Cork? I don't know. I've never worked with cork like that, but I know what you mean. Like the cork with the adhesive back that's nice and thin. Yeah, that could work. Whenever I do dampening, I usually do either shelf liner or toolbox liner, but I have never experimented with cork, so I can't speak to it. Let's get these guys taken apart. Okay. And then as usual, since I have so much 205 grade 0, that's what I will be using for these stabs. It's pretty easy to get your hands on these days, so I don't have any qualms with using it for this type of stuff. But what I might do is actually get a little piece of paper towel and kind of get rid of what was in there, because I don't know what it was, and I don't think I really want it in there. How thick is the plastic? Let me actually measure. Because ya boy has calipers. I've got good calipers and bad calipers, but I'm gonna use the kind of rough ones. Let's switch that to millimeters. 1.7 to 1.8 millimeters. Some areas are also closer to 2 millimeters. 2.1. because it's not uniform. It's not one uniform thickness. Like you can kind of see some of these ridges right here. Those are different thicknesses. And then these pieces look like they are actually going to be spacers for the PCB itself. So it's possible like our maximum height is closer to 4 millimeters. Because I think these nubs right here are about 2 millimeters, and then the piece of plastic itself right here is about 2 millimeters. So up to 4, I believe. Bangorcork.com, 1/8 inch. Yeah, about 1/8 inch. If it's 4 millimeters, yeah. Is this around the nubs, not on them? You sure? No. No, it's just on them. Yeah, those does make contact with the PCB. Yeah. No, I'm looking now, and they do make contact with the PCB itself. So I think our total is about 4 millimeters. So you do have a little bit of dampening room, but just a tiny bit. There you go, dampening made easy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't really speak to cork, but I imagine it would have, you know, some of the same properties you're looking for in any type of dampening. I just don't, so I don't understand. I mean, I guess I do understand why somebody would lube it straight from the factory. But for enthusiasts, if you want to call us that, for enthusiasts, like, it kind of doubles the work of needing to remove it first. So I'm going to put those in there. But for the average person, it probably does actually add value. But one of the things that Drop did recently was they shipped their Holy Pandas lubed. And people went crazy because Holy Pandas are supposed to be kind of like an enthusiast, you know, thing that was kind of a Franken-switch at first. Then Drop kind of capitalized on its success, you know, and created their own version that were kind of like officially licensed. Simple Green, yeah, that's true. But for this, wiping it off is good enough. But they made this enthusiast, you know, level switch that they put some type of lube on, and nobody knew what type of lube it was, and they were very inconsistently lubed. And at that point, it's like, why even try? Like, why even lube it from the factory at that point? If you're selling to enthusiasts who are going to know when something is inconsistently lubed, and you know, you don't even tell them what type of lube it is, they're doing their best. I'm sorry, I don't want to pick on them. They send me free stuff, but I'm gonna call them out for all kinds of stuff. Like, they're not gonna be buying me off with a control keyboard. Yet. Just kidding. No, my integrity too damn high. They can buy you off easy. Nah, I'm in this for the people. I'm in this for the people who want to understand what they're getting themselves into, you know, and don't have the time or ability to, you know, be buying every single thing on the market. And if you appreciate that, give the channel a follow. You got Amazon Prime? Bet you do. You could hit that subscribe button, offset all of my ridiculous costs. Nah, this is all passion project. Honestly, I probably shouldn't be using paper towels because it has fibers, but I don't have anything else that can kind of like get into those spaces readily available. Because like, I would use something more like microfiber, but it's not like the spaces that I'm trying to get into are too small. If it's free, it's for me. It's a good motto. Anyway, how about that Vega? You have work tomorrow and therefore you must sleep? No, you don't. That's not true. It's 9:45. Are you serious? You best slap this on YouTube? I will. I'm doing like all the cross branding these days. Sleep is for the weak. Sleep is for the weak. W-E-E-K. But the Vega won't be up for months. Yeah, I'm really curious what colors they're gonna unveil for that. Because the colors that they had for the Polaris were pretty stunning. They had like a space gray, a blue gray, a rose gold, a red, a black, silver. Like they actually had quite a few offerings. I went for the blue gray, and I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna turn out stunning. And AIO3 has just like impressed me time and time again with his collaborations and attention to detail and ability to, you know, actually hit a price point too. Like that's the most impressive thing I think, from my perspective, is just like what he was able to offer for $265. Uh-oh. I should not have put these wires down on my mat. I got some globby stuff on there. Okay. So now we've got that all disassembled, we can actually start clipping. You don't want to get a starter board at this stage? Yeah, well, so, and I think that's understandable too, because, yeah, thank you. Because, like, you've learned so much that a starter board, I think, doesn't really reflect where you are in the hobby to some extent. Like, you've already invested so much time and energy and, you know, money in terms of your Switch tester. Like, I can completely understand not wanting to go for a starter board just because, like, you want something that reflects the amount of time and effort that you've spent on this, and something that you'll be happy with. Okay, there's one done. but I've been far too patient for everything in general. You just mean in life? In life, you've been far too patient? You finally got your computer, and that's good. But you did have to wait a very long time for that. But also, you're an adult now. And you can do whatever you want. You can have a temper tantrum if you want. In the appropriate places, sure. At work? Maybe not. At home? Alone? Yeah, absolutely. Who's gonna stop you? Whoop. I'm still finding little globs of that mystery lube that they put in there. And yes, call JG Wentworth. It's my money and I want it now. Or need it now? I need it now? Yeah. Okay, we've only got a few more, and then we can actually start reassembling, lubing and reassembling our stabs. But I explained this last time. The reason that we are clipping these off, and I'll show it if anybody's watching this type of content for the first time, there are these legs on your stabilizers that have little harsh edges on them, like little feet that kind of protrude past flush. If you're considering this solid piece here flush, like the legs on this side and this side go past that, and they have like little teeth on them, little fangs on them that do collide with the PCB when it hits. And so what we're trying to do is kind of reduce that impact and reduce the harshness of the impact of the stabilizer hitting the PCB. And it has a very profound impact, surprisingly, on the sound of the board, or the sound of the stabilizers. And then the thing we're going to do after that is apply a thin layer of lubricant to where plastic meets plastic, and plastic slides against plastic, and also where metal meets plastic. And that will give you a much smoother, more even press through the travel of the stabilizer. Okay, one more. Okay. So a properly clipped stabilizer stem will look like this, where you've just got that one flush piece. There's nothing sticking out past it, and it kind of has that Z pattern. You can theoretically buy an extra PCB and just swap it in and out. That's exactly what I did for the Polaris, actually. So for the Polaris, I bought 2 PCBs and 2 different plates so that I could have a completely different feel and just swap the PCB in and out as I felt it. Because I bought a brass piece, or I bought a brass plate to go with one PCB, which is a nice stiff, firm experience. And then I bought an acrylic half plate, which leaves all of the, like it's a plate that only covers the exterior of the board and leaves everything on the inside unprotected so that it flexes quite a bit more. So I'm really excited to see kind of like how both of those things play out, but you can absolutely, and it's pretty common practice to buy 2 PCBs and 2 plates just so that you can have 2 different boards in one. So yeah, that's definitely a thing you can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are actually missing a couple. Where is it? Right? Because we should have 10. Where's our final little piece? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 of those. But unless I just can't count, we've only got 9 of these guys. So where did our 10th one go? We have a mystery. Did you see where it went? This is quickly turning into Dora the Explorer. Ah, there it is. Don't know how he got down there. It's odd. All right, there's our last one. Great. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our little paintbrush. Use our little paintbrush, and we've got our 205 grade 0. We're going to put a thin layer on the inside of the housings where our sliders, or stems, if you want to call them that, will be sliding up and down against this. So basically, you can see this is the inside of the housing. We're going to be putting on this side and on the other side, so up here, a very thin layer of 205 grade 0. And this is one of the places where you can be a little bit more liberal. On switches, I like to be very, very conservative when I lube. That's just personal preference. For thicker lube, I'm going to go a thin layer of thick lube. But for stabilizers, you can be a little bit more generous. Anyway, yeah, you said you were gonna go to bed or something. I don't know. Might be tempting to buy those, and I could always offload it if we needed. Oh, true. Yeah. Work is a time to watch the VOD. You're a very lucky man that you can watch a VOD while at work. Let's see if I can get a shot of approximately how much I'm putting in there. You have training videos, so I slap it on the background. I see. Also, it's the holidays. Nobody's really working anyway, right? They're just all pretending to work. Okay. So hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit. It should be kind of hard to see, right? It should be a little bit hard to see how much I've put in there, because it's a pretty thin layer. AWS is easy enough. Yeah, that's true. So just to show you kind of the final process, like we'll go through one entire one and then we'll do the rest more assembly line. For the stem, if you want to, you can apply additional loop to this. I don't think it's necessary, usually. But the easiest way to figure out which way you're going to reapply it, hey Lou, the easiest way to figure out which way you're going to put the stem back into the housing is if you were considering this as the front of the housing, right, where we're going to clip the wire is right there. If you consider that the front, we're going to put the side width. Oh, flip. Does it not matter on these? Hang on. It has to matter. I forgot that these weren't standard. Okay, that's it. That's easy. Okay. So since these are not GMK stabs, they don't have the 1-hole, 2-hole trick that we showed you last time on these. So what you're gonna do is one side is flush. I don't know if you can see that really. One side is flush, right? Like that line right there is flush. The other side has a leg sticking out. You can kind of see that leg sticking out right there. The flush side is going to go forward. And honestly, like it should really only go in one way. But we're going to put the flush side forward. And I'll do the same thing on this other one. With this being the front, flush side goes forward. Okay. So we've got those two, and then we're going to, I'll just do the spacebar wire since it's kind of like a giant example. We're going to apply lube to that as well, going past the bend. And again, being somewhat liberal, you want there to be a decent coating on there. Just not globby. I don't think globby is necessary. Okay, so here's kind of what I went for. You can kind of see how much I did there. And again, we went past that 90-degree angle. And then for this, as we reinsert it, you're going to make sure that you're going through the bottom piece. You're going to go in kind of at an angle, right? And then snap back down. All right, so that's one side done. And I was talking to somebody earlier today that I think may have over-lubed his stabs. What it can do is it can actually like pack in like into that area where it's supposed to snap down and prevent it from snapping down correctly, and then pop loose after you've assembled your board, which is a really bad thing, especially for non-hot swap. It's really bad to have a wire pop loose because then it's stuck between the PCB and the plate, but your switches are soldered in already. So you're kind of SOL. So just be careful there that when you're putting your stabs back together, you're doing it carefully and like making sure that you are taking care with each decision. But some people like really, they pack a lot of stuff in there, like dielectric grease, which I've used and is fine. But if you're just like packing it in there, it can be a little sketchy at times. Okay, so there's our spacebar done. And now we're just we're gonna super fast through the rest of these. And this is a great time to ask questions because we've already kind of covered everything that I'm working on right now. But if you guys have any questions, shout them out. And I'm also going to be working like up close to me, which is a lot more efficient, like faster and efficient than working in front of the camera. But we've already done some in front of the camera, so I'm not too concerned. If anybody wants additional shots up close to the camera, let me know. Yeah, I also realized recently when Kofi was talking to me that that I should be uploading to YouTube more often because there are people whose employers and whose like, what do you call them? Colleges or institutions can block specific websites that are related to, you know, gaming and things like that they think are non-productive websites. And YouTube is both a non-productive website and a good resource, and so like it makes it hard for them to block YouTube content, and a lot of people enjoy watching, you know, things on YouTube and can't on Twitch anyway. So I'm gonna start uploading, I think, most of my streams now to YouTube, and that's kind of where the Epidemic Sound stuff came in, like, because I'm paying a subscription fee, but it allows me to just not have to worry at all about uploading content, which is a really nice thing. I do not have to worry about it being copyright claimed or, you know, struck, anything like that. Because I've had videos that I've uploaded that not only get copyright claimed, which just means that you can't make money off of it. Not that I, you know, would be making any money really anyway. But I've also had videos actually blocked, like where I cannot make them public because somebody has said, we won't let you use our content in a video, even if you're not making money on it, which is kind of a surprise, or was a surprise when I uploaded it. And it was from a Twitch VOD, and Twitch would let you play it, but YouTube wouldn't. So this is another nice thing that just won't even have to be a consideration going forward. Alright, have another sip of my Tire Fire beer. But yeah, I guess I should mention, because I haven't yet, that this is, even though it has a lot of elements of a custom keyboard, it is not technically a custom keyboard, and it should probably be kept in mind that it's not. It is, you know, something from a manufacturer, and if you are doing modifications like this, you know, on a custom keyboard like this, like it's expected, you know, and it doesn't really ship with a warranty or anything, but it's expected, you know, for you to. For a keyboard like this, it's from a company, you know, an established company, and this will put you at risk of not receiving support going forward. But I think Drop generally are pretty good guys. They're bros when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because if you go to them and they're like, or you say, no, it doesn't light up anymore. I don't know what happened. And they're like, did you tune your stabilizers? And you're like, yes. They're like, ah, got him. We won't support it. But I don't think that's going to happen. Everybody that I've worked with through Drop has been really nice. And they do some really nice things for the community as well. Like Geekhack, the forum that most of the keyboard community kind of runs on, and which is the first place to go for interest checks and group buys to learn about, you know, upcoming products in the keyboard community, is, I think, either partially or wholly paid for by Drop. And they just left it exactly original. They left it, you know, in the hands of the people, you know, that have been running it. They just saw it as an established community resource and wanted to make sure that it stayed there in perpetuity. So all right, so that's the last. That's the last housing. We've already clipped. We just need to do our wires, lube our wires, and then reassemble. Okay. Oh yeah, so Lucky, I was gonna ask if you're still around. What was in Florida that you were going to be going to visit in February? Because no offense to Florida, well, minor offense to Florida. I don't generally vibe with Florida. And if I can avoid going to Florida, I usually do. Ooh, Kissimmee. Oh, hopefully the Ren Fair. That'll be nice. I didn't realize that Florida was a hotspot for Ren Fairs. There was one in Indiana that was pretty popular when I went to school there. But I did not realize that Florida was the place to be. Okay. Speed mode. Speed mode. Just happens to be there at the time. Okay. Oh, is this one that kind of like travels around the country? And this year it is being held in Florida? It's not like a yearly thing that's held in Florida? That's kind of how KeyCon works. KeyCon 2020, by the way. Denver, Colorado. Get excited. I'm going to be there. It would take an act of God for me not to be at KeyCon 2020. Let me tell you. I'm so excited for it. Oh, okay. I see. I've never been to a real Ren fair. I play D&D. I have a D&D themed tattoo, but I have never like and I love, you know, the fantasy aspect, but I've never been to a Ren fair. I have lots of friends that do though. That like make their own costumes and costumes isn't the right word. That make their own like armor and weapons and things like that. And I really admire all the craftsmanship that goes into it. And your boy does like his mead. What got you into it? I'm curious. I did it upside down again. Got one side in, popped one side out. There we go. D&D friends? Nice. D&D friends are the best friends, man. My D&D group has been going... Oh, gosh. Since maybe 2012? 7 years? It's so long. We've had just countless adventures. I highly recommend D&D to people. I think it's such a great outlet. I think adults especially need to actively use their imagination. I think it's super important that adults actively use their imagination. I think a lot of times people think it's a kid's thing, you know, to play pretend or whatever. But it's just like it actuates so many different parts of your brain. Creativity, problem solving, seeing things from different people's points of view. Like, I highly recommend people play D&D if you have any interest in it. Because there are so many, and it might sound cheesy to say this, but there are so many times where I've been playing D&D, you know, and you're problem solving and, you know, working collaboratively with people, and somebody will come up with something that just floors you, like that you would never have thought of, and that is so ingenious and like helps you to kind of see problems in a new light. And I love that kind of stuff, man. Also, my group is very what's the right word? Irreverent? And they're just such a fun group of people. It's a type of fun that you don't get anywhere else too. Like the type of fun that I have with my D&D group, I would never have with kind of like my normal friend group, or you know, people at work, or you know, after work functions, or you know, my wife's friends or anything like that. Like it's a unique type of fun, and it's a unique type of kind of letting loose that I really enjoy. God, I did it again. I need to start paying attention to which way I'm clipping these in. I've done it upside down twice now. Not that it matters. Like, if you clip it in upside down, it's fine. You just unclip it and go again. But it's just a little embarrassing. I found a short tale of D&D that's perfect for that. Please do share. Okay, we're almost done with stabs. Stabs are kind of a tedious thing. I might, for certain builds... Oh, okay, share in Discord, great. For certain builds, I might start tuning stabilizers ahead of time. Because I just don't know if it's a great use of everybody's time. Especially now that we've gone through multiple builds where I kind of share the same information. What I might do is create a guide on YouTube that I can link to and say, hey, if you're interested in seeing more about this process that I'm doing, I will break it down for plate mount stabilizers and PCB mount stabilizers, or screw-in stabilizers. So that might be a more effective use of time than just tuning on stream every time. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Vote now with your touch-tone phones. Okay, this one I'm not going to clip in upside down. Right? Right? Lucky, I'm curious, do you watch any D&D content on Twitch or YouTube? Like, are you a critter? I didn't realize how divisive Critical Role could be, actually. Some? Okay. Some people really don't like Critical Role because it focuses very much on the storytelling aspect of D&D rather than kind of like the mechanics part. And some people like really like the mechanics and, you know, get really frustrated with the cast when they don't like make the exact right decision. Which I think is kind of missing the mark, but that's okay. Okay. We have our stabs done. Done. And we can put them back in. We can clip them back into this top plate. The first thing I'm going to do is wipe off my hands, though, to make sure I'm not spreading lube everywhere. But in terms of storytelling, I think that should never be something that people kind of like let rules get in the way of. I think that there should be kind of like a healthy medium where you're not necessarily like enforcing people to or forcing people to, you know, play one specific way. But, you know, understanding that D&D is the culmination of both kind of like the rules, like the mechanics and the storytelling. All All right, so for this plate, what we're doing is we're putting the stabilizers back in with the wire going this way. So like it makes kind of a U shape, right? So we're sliding them in first. We're kind of like putting the tip down and sliding them in. And then we're making sure that the front lip is over. So the front lip here is actually over the aluminum. And then snapping in the back. If I can actually get my hands to work that way, because doing it in front of the camera is much more difficult. Come on, hands. You can do this. I believe in you. Oh, actually, oh, these are inverted. That's why. Okay. So, good thing to notice. This one actually did go like this. And you can kind of see the notch that's here on the side. Right? That's going to dictate which side. So like, see how it's kind of back here and that lines up with the notch on the side of these guys, because these guys have a piece that slides in that you can kind of see there, right? So for this one, it's on the back half, but on this, it's on the front half. So these are actually inverted or this one is inverted in relation to the others. So the others, this is on the back half, right? Back half, front half. So specifically, your left shift will be inverted. Okay, so from the back side, what that looks like, other way, this way, is that your spacebar stab wire will be pointing towards the bottom. Your left shift stab wire will be at the top, okay? But the others, as you can see, will be the same as the spacebar. Left shift is the only one that needs to be inverted. As I attempt to not hit the microphone anymore. Okay, that makes life so much easier. I don't know why that's the case. I assume it has to do something with this mounting point, right? So you see this screw right here. I'm assuming that the reason this one is inverted is because if it were the other way around, it would be interfering with that screw point. But it seems kind of arbitrary, and I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay. There are much worse things to have happen. Okay, so now we've got our stabs all back in. Here it is from the top side. Here it is from the bottom side, or to show you kind of the better angle. Everybody is pointing down, except, because this is the spacebar, right? This would be kind of down. Everybody's pointing down except left shift. All right, great. So, actually, we're pretty much done with the hard part. Like, really done with the hard part. Because assembly is going to be a breeze, because we're in hot swap land. Okay. So from the bottom, as we talked about, we've got this piece of acrylic here. Actually, I don't even know if it's acrylic, but this piece of acrylic that's going to hold our magnet pieces. Yeah, hot swap land. It's the best land, man. And then once we get those back in place and get our PCB mated back up with our top piece. Okay. Again, this is very, very important. Please pay attention if you're going to be doing this. It is very important that, first of all, this is the back side of the PCB. So we want our USB-Cs to be going in first, right? So we're basically going in at an angle, and then we're going to drop the back. So we're going in at an angle, making sure that our USB-C pieces are through, and then we're dropping the back very slowly. Okay. So now that that's in place, this is all flush. You can kind of see we're all flush. I'm gonna set that in my lap and not touch it for a second as we reassemble the bottom piece. Here are our little magnets, or our little pieces of iron that our magnets will attach to. There's number 3. And let's take a next stab, another stab at trying to find number 4 wherever he went off to. Ah, I found him. Okay, great. There's number 4. Okay, so as we said, from this side, we're going to be putting these in, but then there's nothing to really keep them in place. So we kind of have to like assemble this board upside down as we go back. Like, we're gonna have to take this piece. This is our bottom piece. We're going to have to go on top of this because that's the only thing that keeps these in place. You could probably tack them down with glue and make it a little bit easier to work with, but I don't know if that's entirely necessary. Okay. Ah, okay. So you can't just flip it. Good to know. You really do have to get it in there first and then apply it. I would prefer this be a different method, because they have to know that the people that are building this are or the people that are going to be doing this. Oh wait, I've got a great idea. Okay, wait, brilliant idea-ish idea. I wonder if I can. Will they both stay that way? Okay, nice. So what I did was I put, yeah, it is kind of dumb, but I used the magnets that they included to hold them down from the other side so that they weren't going to move around. Okay, great. And then what we have to do is make sure that these guys are going to go in correctly. believe it will be like this. Let me make sure the mount points are correct. Yes. Yes. Okay. And then you kind of just have to like make sure that it's in place, because this middle piece, this diffusion layer here, has pins on both the top and bottom that will guide each piece into place. Okay. But now that that's done, actually, let me make sure something really fast. Okay, the magnet trick does work though. That's good. Almost. It almost works. Gosh, that's infuriating. All right, you have to have it in first. Take the magnets off. You can't have the magnets on first. Then put your bottom plate down. Okay, make sure it's secure. Then put your magnets, if you want to, in between. Okay, that's it. It's just a little much, but we got it. And we are ready to assemble. And then the last thing we'll be putting in our holy pandas. And I'm just doing this finger tight. I'm not torquing these down at all. But going from one side to the opposite corner. Just very loosely snugging them down. We are in the home stretch. This is a nice piece of, like, this is a nice piece of aluminum, though. It is well milled. It has countersunk screw holes. It's kind of got this, like, blue-gray, or I think it's called space gray ano to it. It looks nice. No visible imperfections. And it has the new drop logo on it. And I do think that the massdrop drop rebrand was a good thing for them. I know that there are still lots of products that still have, like, the word massdrop on them. But I think that's okay. I just think that, you know, the fact that they were able to get drop.com was a big deal for them. And that their logo now is much more simple and clean. So I'm a fan of the rebrand. I really need a better microphone solution. Holy crap. Okay, and now that we're snug there, I can move our magnets. Be like that. And we are ready to put in our holy pandas. Holy crap-a-lony. We got our holy pandas here. Oh gosh, guys, I'm so excited. But like I said, I'm gonna start on this side, and then if we don't have enough, I'm gonna fill in this with just the our Halo trees that we got. What changes did drop make to the control? You mean before? Well, what do you mean? Because this is like a drop original, but they have had previous iterations of it, and I don't know exactly what they changed from version to version, other than the stabilizers. I know that they did a stabilizer. Ooh, those are gonna be tight. Okay, these are gonna be tight, boys. But I know that they did some stabilizer work, but I don't know. Oh. Oh, these are gonna be tight. Oh, these are never gonna come out. I'm gonna have to, here's how I'm gonna have to get these out in the future. I'm gonna have to, take off the bottom, take off the PCB, pull the PCB away from these switches, and then push the switches out from the other side. I feel like that's... Say goodbye to my pandas? I know! What did I do? What did I do? They're never gonna come out. I kinda wanna even... Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. It's never coming out. Let me just go ahead and try. Express, hello. Oh no, they're never coming out. They're never coming out. Okay, so so I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing this, but just know that it will take a monumental effort to get these out. It is no longer hot swap. No. Oh no no no. He lacked the critical information. Oh gosh. Soldering without a soldering iron. It's true. There's like some fusion that's happening here that science can't explain yet. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Here's the problem. Somebody is watching this video right now, whether on Twitch or YouTube or something. Somebody's gonna be watching this video now or in the future and thinking to themselves, what a waste of holy pandas. But that person doesn't realize that I'm not a tactile guy. I'm not a tactile guy. So this is more of an experiment than anything. Oh my gosh. Geez, what's worth 1 billion points? You'll just have to find out. You'll just have to save up and find out. Also, it used to be 1 billion, but then I put it on discount, so it's only 9,999,999. So, you're welcome. You're at 8.4k and counting. Oh man, the day that it comes, you have no idea what's gonna hit you. Oh, see, the spacebar was easy, but that's just because there's so much more flex in the board at that point. Like spacebar is actually pretty easy to get in, but with because it has that giant channel cut in it, like the aluminum will actually flex there to accept it. But on these guys, it's just gonna suck. Oh boy. This better be the best mass drop control. No, wait, drop. See, dang it. This better be the best drop control that ever has existed. Because everything is lubed. Everything, yeah. These are pre-lubed Holy Pandas. I lubed these with 205 grade 0. And the important thing to know about lubing tactile switches is do not lube the legs. Whatever you do, you can lube the front, the back, like other contact points, the sides, just not the legs themselves. It's really important not to, because it will kill your tactility. I should say that if it's your preference to do that, then that's fine. And I'm not going to take away from your preference, but yeah. So what's happening? Okay, what's happening is that I received a control, which is a drop keyboard that they produce. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Okay, we're good. So Drop sent me a control, which is their 10 keyless board, their 10 keyless keyboard, and I wanted to make it the best version of itself possible. So what we did was we completely disassembled it. We tuned the stabilizers, so like we clipped and looped the stabilizers, and now I'm putting lubed Holy Pandas into them, or into it, and we're going to see just how good we can make it. And I'm going to put a custom set of keycaps on as well, which is GMK Oblivion monochrome base, which is like a nice gray and blue aesthetic. So this is like a space gray, and then I think the gray from the GMK Oblivion is going to look really nice with some like pops of blue in there as well. So I'm really excited. But yeah, when they sent me this, I knew what it was gonna be like, and to some extent I knew what it was gonna be like, and I tested it beforehand. But then I was like, how good can we make this? What are pandas? Pandas are kind of like a Franken switch, where you have Halo trues, and this is what came on the board. Massdrop sells these Halo switches that are kind of like they're a tactile switch, and then there's a guy in the community, in the keyboard community, named Quakums, aka Brian, who realized that if you put the stems from these Halo switches into the housings of an Invir Panda, or in this case a Yok Panda, which is the same housing, right? If you take the stem of this and put it into the housing of a Yok Panda, you get Holy Pandas, and it's like it's a really nice round tactile bump, and like a very pleasing thing to type on if you like tactile switches. So when I first got into the community, I'd been hearing about them, and I said to myself, like, I feel as though it's a rite of passage for me to, you know, make a set of these switches and try them out. And so I did. I made the switches, and I lubed them with Crytox 205 grade 0, but I've never had anything to try them out on. And so when Drop sent me this board, and when I, you know, had the idea to just make it the best board it can be, I was like, oh, I can put my Holy Pandas in there. I think thematically it makes sense because it ships with half of a Holy Panda anyway, and Drop also sells Holy Pandas as their own individual switch these days. You don't actually have to make them from scratch anymore if you don't want to. But since I had these lying around, and I had a board that they were going to go into, or like a board that could take them, and that could really elevate the board a bit, you know, to have really nice lubed tactile switches, I decided to put them in there. So yeah, that's kind of the story. The only problem is that these switches, the housings on these switches, is a little bit too big, and is very hard to fit into this integrated aluminum plate. So I'm really having to kind of press these guys in really hard to get them to pop in. And I apologize if that's loud. I can kind of see it peeking on the monitor. What's Potato's first emblem? That means that he was one of the first people to sub to the channel, and he's considered like a founder of the channel. I don't know if there are actually any founder slots left. I honestly I've not been keeping track of how many there are, but I think there are 15 total for affiliates, and then maybe 25 for partners. But yeah, it just means that he was one of the first people to sub to the channel, and is considered like a founder of the channel, like one of the first people to support the channel. Oh, gosh dang, these are tight. Oh boy. Okay. This is good. Like, as I'm actually pushing these in though, like, they do feel really nice. Like, I think it's gonna be nice to type on, honestly. But my thumb may not survive this. It might need like a day to rest. I might have to call in a sick day after putting these in to rest my thumb. I'm sorry that I'm having to do this like off screen too, you know, but like I just need the leverage of being back here. I don't think I could do it in front of the camera, honestly. Let's see. Oh, okay, we did okay. But this might be like killing your ears. Oh, okay, can't get that one. But hang on, how many streams are we gonna have before the end of 2019? Do I need to give my 2019 speech? Or am I know I'll be back on Saturday, right? Saturday's the 28th. Yes? Yes? Maybe? Yes. Okay, we'll be back on Saturday. Then I'll give my end of year speech. Because holy heck, 2019 has been just a fantastic year for this channel. But 2020 is going to be even better. How long have I been streaming for? You can do exclamation mark uptime. I think it's about 3 hours. I think most of my streams end up being between 2 and 3 hours. Just because what I do, like when I'm streaming, I'm not trying to go super fast. You know, everything that I build is pretty... Oh, on Twitch. Oh, I see. Consistently or since the day I first streamed? Because I think the day that I first streamed on Twitch was Sunday, March 18th. I have a post-it note. That's what I'm looking at. Sunday, March 18th of 2017. So technically more than 2 years, but I've only been streaming consistently for maybe 8 months. Before this, it was very much so like I would just fit it in whenever I had time, and then I would find, you know, that since I had a flexible schedule, since I wasn't like holding myself to that standard, that whenever people asked like, oh, can you do this, can you do that, I would accept, because streaming was kind of like, you know, my secondary thing, and like I could push it off and not feel too guilty because, you know, I didn't have a schedule. But, you know, the more I started streaming, the more I was enjoying it. Oh dear. The more I started streaming, the more I was enjoying it. The more people would come by, and, you know, then, you know, wanted to make sure that I was okay when I wasn't streaming, and all that stuff. And like I felt as though I needed to push it to a place, you know, where I was doing it more consistently, had a schedule, which is something that other people had recommended as well. And so, oh boy, let's try a different hole for you. Oh boy, oh, you're gonna be tight. Okay. Once I actually like got a schedule and started doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, the stream, you know, got way more successful, and I'm really glad I did. And not just from like a, you know, successful viewership standpoint, but just like bringing new people in and getting to meet new people, because I work from home full time currently, and I don't, you know, get too much human contact, and streaming has kind of like scratched that itch for me. And, you know, I've been able to meet so many incredible people through Twitch that I would never have met in real life. And, you know, one of the great things about Twitch is that you're streaming in a category that you care about, and people who care about that category and care about the same things that you're doing come and find you. And so, like, in adult life, it's so much harder to meet people with similar interests, because you're not, like, you know, going in the same circles as those people. And if you meet a coworker that just happens to have something in common, that's great, but it's much harder to find people that are interested in the same things that you are. So Twitch, you know, through that mechanism of streaming in a category, has really allowed me to meet a lot of wonderful people that share my interests. And we've built a little community, which is awesome. And our little community is growing day by day and doing more and more good day by day, because we have a focus on, you know, charity and being decent people to each other, and, you know, supporting other small streamers, and, you know, just like, even though it's a small platform, like, just doing the most we can with it. So I really like that. Oh, thank you so much. I'm really glad. I like to have kind of like a calm, chill, approachable, you know, stream, not something where, you know, the streamer's kind of off in his own little world or whatever it may be. And also, at this point, you know, we're doing keyboard streams for the lower, you know, budgets, like, and that's not to, you know, alienate anybody that wants $1,000 keyboard. Like, we'll probably get to that at some point. But kind of starting small with, you know, things like the NK65 with some pre-mades, and then working our way up. And so people who are along for the ride and, you know, wanting to learn more about mechanical keyboards, kind of see the entire range, starting at the more accessible and then going up in quality and price. So that's my plan, at least. And I'm glad you're here too. Okay, we're close, but I'm running out of switches. we'll be able, I think we'll be able to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ooh boy. Ooh, okay. We're gonna have to fill in some switches, but we're gonna be okay. We'll fill them in for now, and then once I build more holy pandas, I will replace them. Because it's hot swap, and I can do that. And the ones we'll be pulling out will be Halo Trues, not holy pandas, and will actually come out. That's the hope, at least. All right, so these center F keys this is gonna be a weird amalgamation, but these center F keys and then this side over here will be Halo Trues, but just don't tell anybody, okay? When I do the typing test, I just won't hit those keys. Oh gosh, these are so much easier to put in. Oh, you guys have no idea. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, we've got, I'll just need to order some more Yak pandas in order to fill these out. Are my holy pandas PCB mount? No, they are plate mount specifically. Ooh. I have this one that broke as I was putting it in because the plate was so tight. But you can kind of see, this is the Yak trash panda, which is the gray with black. And this is plate mount only. Which is both bad and good. For this build, it's good because I don't need to clip them off, but at the same time, I would rather have the 5-pin option and clip them off if I wanted to, rather than being forced into it. So that's kind of my position on that. Oh, come on. All right, we're so close. We're so close. And then I can actually put on my new GMK set. My GMK Oblivion V2. I'm so excited. Okay, all done. Which means that it is time for GMK Oblivion. And let's get some of this stuff out of the way. I think we're done taking things apart for now, so we can put this away. One thing that I'm a little bit disappointed with, see if I can show you a little bit. So I got this Rama puller, this Rama switch puller that I was really excited about, and that I kind of talked up early on in this stream. But the problem should be pretty obvious, is that when you actually try to use it and like put significant pressure on it, it bends. So like the nice thing is that it doesn't scratch the plate, but it does not seem to have enough heft to actually deal with some stiffer switches. Like I can bend it back, that's fine, but I'd rather not have to do that each time and then baby it. All right, and then I'm gonna put these guys back in my Holy Panda box because they will someday be Holy Pandas. Okay. I'm excited. The nice thing about, so GMK sets come in this, you know, nice kind of row by row packaging, and then they have, you know, these little poppers here. You pop them out. If you can get your fingernails underneath them. There we go. You take it off. And then, actually, I'm not going to put escape on. Well, I'll put escape on, but it's going to be the blue escape. God, look at this blue. I really like that color of blue. I don't know what you'd call it exactly. It's a cerulean blue? No, cadet blue? Maybe. Really nice blue. We'll do our F row. We're just minutes away from our sound test to see how well we have done. And then I'm going to take some pictures of this too. Cadet, yeah, I couldn't think of the right name, but I think Cadet is close enough. And this is just going to be a nice classy set with a little pop of color, which I really appreciate. Like, I've never been one for, you know, super bright sets. I typically prefer more muted offerings that are well thought out. It's weird, so I haven't had like a full TKL in a long time. So like as you can see up here, I'm not used to having like a function row and, you know, a dedicated tilde key, because like my tilde is usually a function layer underneath escape. Oh, this is looking good. This is already looking really good. Like the space gray with the gray and blue. Oh, this is looking good. This is looking good. Yeah, I'm pleased. And let's see. Okay, so we're coming up on our first stabilizer. Let's see how our backspace sounds after we put in all that work. Sounds good? Thumbs up. The only thing that I think, you know, will make this not sound like a top tier board is the fact that it's such a thick piece of aluminum that's integrated into the top plate. Like it, you know, it's one piece, and then, you know, a piece of acrylic and then the bottom piece. Like there's really not a lot of space for sound to resonate, for, you know, sounds to kind of mature as they you know, bounce through the board. And so that's the only thing I think might be a knock against it acoustically. And then also it's a very thick piece of aluminum. Oh, actually, I want to put Nubbin's keys. So, for those who are not super familiar, every key set, every good key set, will probably come with 2 different versions of your F key and 2 different versions of your J key. And the difference is one of them has this little piece of plastic on the bottom. You can call it a nipple or a nub or whatever you want. And then one will come with this extra deep scoop. So these are your homing keys. And it's different ways for your fingers to kind of find the natural position, the home row position. And it's entirely preferential. For this one, I'm going to put in the nipple version. Let's not talk about that anymore. But you can do whichever one, you know, looks right to you or feels right to you. If you learned touch typing when you were in school and you know, your fingers recognize that position with that little nub, then do that. If they don't, if you prefer something that lets your fingers kind of like slip in and rest, you know, in a deeper position, do that. Entirely preference. Okay, and then here's our next big accent piece, which is the blue return. and I'm enjoying that. I like that a lot. Some people get in a tizzy when it comes to icon versus text modifiers, but I like them both for their own purposes. This guy is losing balance rather quickly. I'm just gonna put him in my lap before he falls and makes a mess. And get our giant shift here too. Control, super. Alt. Inverted space, because I'm cool like that. Very good. It's a little tight. It's a little spacebar could use some work. Not that we didn't do anything right, just that I think again we're kind of limited by the materials and the use case here. All right, we are done. Holy crap, we're done. Put those away, make sure that's popped back into place. Let's take a look. We're gonna do the Nathan Kim thing where we go like this. And just show it off. And then like hold one for the thumbnail. Think you can pull out the stabilizer? I think I could too. I just don't think that there's actually much to be done here. Like, I think we did everything right, and the fact that it still sounds a little off is not actually our fault, but just a limitation of the materials that were used to make this work. Because, like, look, you know, it's very simple. It's a very low profile board. There are only so many, you know, moving parts, and I think we did the spacebar correctly. It's just, I just don't know how much better it can really get. All right, let's move some stuff out of the way. Let's get that over there. You can stay in frame. No, this way. Looks fabulous. Thank you. Very nice. Very nice. Very clean. Just don't tell anybody that's using half Holy Pandas, half Halo Trues. I think so too. I'm okay. I've been waiting for these switches or these keycaps for so long. I'm so happy that they came in and they look so good. All right, let's take a listen. Let's do. Well, actually, I can plug it in first, and we can see the RGB. I'm scared. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you can kind of see like the diffused RGB on the edges that I was talking about. And the switches that come with it, the Halo Trues, are like, they have a shine through, you know, quality to them, and so this type of thing is going to allow that light to come through. The ones, you know, with the Holy Pandas aren't, but RGB is something that I don't really care too much about. So let's mute this, and then let's get the microphone right up close. And then let me open a text editor so I don't like somehow do something awful to my computer. Okay. I somehow entered a menu. Thumbs up. I think we made it substantially better. Obviously, what I'm gonna do, so before this goes on like YouTube as its own just a little bit. I think we might be able to bump it up from just a little bit to just a lot of bit. But I'll probably do like an ASMR video using this keyboard at some point. And by then I will, let's see, what else will I do? I'll probably turn off the RGB and hopefully have these as Holy Pandas too, because you can kind of see, yeah, I'm pleased. I'm really pleased. It kind of goes to show how much, you know, TLC can do. Obviously, like, we're starting with the $200 board, and I don't want to discount that, but really elevated, you know, the board into a new level. So really, really pleased with that. I still have a little bit of work to do, but that's going to be for another day. Thank you guys so much. Let's unplug this. Let's take another quick peek at it. Yes. Okay. And if this is something you're interested in, let me know. I can talk to Drop, or I can, you know, give you an affiliate link or anything like that. And that'll all be in the YouTube stuff as well, so don't worry about that. But for now, let's raid somebody. I had a great time tonight. Thank you guys just so much for coming out, spending your night with me. Let's see who we have in the makers and crafting world. First of all, I need to plug my keyboard back in. And if you guys have any recommendations for streamers that you are interested in or think that I should be focusing on, let me know. I see that Mugo11 is on. He just started about 15 minutes ago. Let's raid him. What do you think? He's a really cool guy. He does some really wonderful builds. MEWGO 1. Right. Alright. We're gonna start the raid. Give him some hearts from me. Cheers, guys. Have a wonderful night. I will talk to you on Saturday. Bye.